Hello and welcome to today's live stream. We are extremely excited to chat about a roadmap to succession planning and what it looks like with the data that you have within your business. But before we get into it, we wanted to start with a couple of introductions. So I will turn it over to our other speaker, Leah, to give her background.
Hi, everybody. It is great to see you again. Leah Pearman, the CRO of Customize 365. We are a Microsoft Dynamics and Power BI company. We work with small businesses to help you get your data ready for your succession planning. And I am super excited to be here today and to share our live stream with you. Laura?
Awesome. Well, I am here with Leah, Chief Marketing Officer here at Customize 365, focused on everything around making it a great experience for our customers, from helping understand what we're able to do and talking about some of the challenges around data in the CRM, down to supporting you as you work with Customize 365 and helping you understand the value that we can provide. So kind of on that note, this is the third live stream that we've done in a series. So we want to spend a couple of minutes chatting about, how we got to this session and this topic. And so Leah, anything that you want to pull out as, topics that we've talked about along the way that's important as a refresher?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. So how did we get here? Again, this entire company was kind of birthed out of the idea that we could bring Wall Street to Main Street. Our founder and CEO was working on his buying journey for a CRM for a large real estate company. And he thought to himself, why aren't we doing this for smaller businesses as well? Their data is just as important. They've got just as many plans. And they've got a lot more at stake in some ways. So that's kind of how we got the company started, and then how we got to this third live stream, which we're so excited about and cannot believe that it's 3 already. The first thing we started talking about was your data. Do you know where it's at? And we talked kind of briefly about it could be anywhere. We've got some customers with colored folders or numbered folders or colored bins, and we really took a look at the idea that the way that you organize is very different and very personal. But because it's very different and very personal, it might not be that easily organized to get into a CRM. So how do we help you as Customize 365 get that data together, get it in a usable form, get it in a format that we can then put into a system that would help you build your business, whether you're looking to grow it, whether you're looking to pass it on generationally, or whether you're really just trying to figure out whether you want to stay in this business and sell it to somebody else and get the most out of it. All of those things are really important. And it all starts with where your data lives and how we can get it into a system for you. And then we kind of moved to paper everywhere, which was to say it's probably in lots of different places. If you'll remember the story about my dear dad and his phone book with his women having their last names changed. So he organizes his phone book for girls by their first name, but men by their last name. And so very unique to my dad, love him so much. But I think that's probably not that strange. I think there are a lot of people out there that do things very differently. And as we continue this live stream, I'm sure Laura and I can show you some differences just between the two of us. And it makes sense. It makes sense what we're doing to us. But is it in the right format? Is it all in one place? Is it going to move your business further? And that's what we're really here to do at Customize 365, is to get you the CRM that gets your business in the right place.
Perfect. So I was transitioning the slide, Leah, because I thought we were going to dive into the overview of Customize 365, but we have the agenda slide. So before Leah goes back to sharing a little bit more about who we are and what we do, wanted to talk a little bit about what we're talking about today. So, everything that we're talking about is building out that roadmap to figure out what's next for your business. So we'll be talking a bit about that, and then how you can transition and build your future based on what that looks like, because it's going to be individualized to your circumstances and where you want to go.
Awesome. So we share this slide every time that we do one of these streams, and I think it's really important just to reiterate where we're coming from and what we're doing. We use the power of Microsoft's Power BI and their Dynamics platform in order to enrich your business. And we can do that for several reasons or several ways. But most importantly, it's so that you can feel comfortable knowing that you have your customers that you know so well on probably a deeply personal level, on a professional level as well. Do you know where those contracts live? Do you know what their end dates are? Are you missing anything? And we'll go through those points in more detail in just a moment. But again, who we are, the core of us, is using that Microsoft platform to help you, enable you to get yourself into a really, really great place. Standardization on your organization will get you in a great place when it comes to the ability to visualize your current situation and really help you build a future for the plans that you have for your succession.
Awesome. So now we're going to dig into a little bit of what we said of, let's take a look at the path ahead. So as you think about your roadmap, whether you're looking at, an exit strategy of selling your business, if you're looking at handing it over to someone within your family or someone within the organization to continue your legacy, or even if you're just thinking about, what the growth strategy might be for you, all of this is relevant no matter where you might be. But I think it starts with kind of three key questions that we'll dig into. And I'll hand it over to Leah to dig into what those are.
Yeah, thanks so much. So again, we're going to talk about what have you done, right? And we're going to talk about each of these key questions in three separate ways. One about the success of your customers. We're going to talk about how that happens operationally for you and what that means for your sales and marketing. All right. So at least from my perspective, of course, on the sales side, what have you done? Do you know where your data is? We talked again about those binders and folders. And do you have a closet? Do you have a bunch of file cabinets sitting around that we'll need to go through? All of that's completely doable. We just have to make sure that we have it in the right place so that we can get all the data that we need about your customers, where they're at now, where they could be. And so let's just take a look at what you've done, details about your customers and their business, not just your friends, making sure that we think about them in a different lens. And then how are you tracking your lost sales as well? I told you at the beginning of the stream that Laura and I have a very different approach to some of our organizational skills. I am ridiculous. I probably need medication. My spices are alphabetized in my closet. My clothes are done by color. I've got bins behind me of pens done by color. And I find it incredibly comforting. And it's something, if I get stressed out, I like to clean something, organize something. I'll rip a closet apart and put it back together. But one of the commonalities that Laura and I found is because we're both avid readers, and we love books. My books are done by author, by publication date. And Laura's books are done by
uh, kind of organized chaos is the way that I describe it. So I have a shelf or two on my bookshelf with my favorites, but otherwise I just have them there, and for me, that's comforting to me that I can find them in the way that makes most sense to me. Obviously, if it's alphabetized or goes off of the Dewey Decimal System, that's great too, but for me, that's not really a priority to have my data organized that way, and I can imagine if Leah came to my house and took a look at my bookshelf, she would probably be organizing it in the middle of the night.
probably would be. It's interesting because sometimes I'll do it completely differently. Sometimes I just do it by the color of the book jacket. So, again, I think what it highlights is just the strategies that we have. Just two normal people in normal lives, normal business practices who have a very different way of organizing things. So let's take a look at what you've done from that perspective and see where we can go from there. And then I think, Laura, do you want to talk about the marketing side about what you've done so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think something that's really interesting that I've seen with the small businesses that I've worked with is, oftentimes you're trying to understand what is your niche? What is your target market? Who are the customers that are finding the most value with your product or your services? And so this can be really challenging, especially if you're taking a look at it from a retrospective point, because you might have a lot of data. Some of it might be incomplete, but you might have some ideas around, okay, these are the customers that are doing really well for us, but maybe you don't have a lot of data to support that. Maybe you don't know where do I go because we build everything based on relationships today. But that is valuable information to have because as you take a look at where your business might be going next, say if you're looking at a growth strategy, understanding that referrals are a really strong piece of that and have gotten you where you are today, knowing which customer segments you've tried to go after and maybe they haven't been successful or you didn't have enough information, that's extremely informative too. Especially, if you're looking at a succession plan as well, because that's really informative to, if you have a buyer or if you have a legacy that's going to be carried on, to know, okay, we've tried this, we've moved on. There has been some data and some research that have identified who our ideal customer profile is, and that's why we're focused there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. And then I think when we get out of that the contacts and the customers that you have and the personal relationships you have, it's a natural thing to move to the next section that says, what has that cost you? Right? I think we touched on this on one of the streams about the actual cost of not capturing some of the data that doesn't appear to be useful. So when you don't win a deal, when you don't win a customer, are you capturing that information? Did you capture what you did right, what you did wrong? Do you have the ability to go back and see some of those customers? Maybe they just weren't ready to buy, but they would really like to have bought. I think that's incredibly valuable. One of our customers didn't have their contacts, their prospects assigned to anyone through a CRM. They just said, here, this person's interested. And two salespeople pitched to that particular customer within hours of each other. And that is incredibly embarrassing, first and foremost, probably more for the sellers than anything else. But it's also indicative of what happens when you don't have some organization around what you're trying to do and the actual cost that it could have. There's a reputational piece to that as well. Do those customers, those salespeople know who their people are going out to see? And so there was a bit of a reputational cost as well. It's not just hard dollars that you'll see this come back as. And then what does that mean for your customer retention? Are customers getting the care that they need? Are they getting the regular intervals they need? Your renewals. If you've got annual contracts with someone and you're not tracking them somewhere except maybe in a folder or a spreadsheet even, are you getting a notification that it's coming up? Maybe in some contracts, you've got a renewal date that says you have to contact me 60 days before the end of my contract. What if you missed that? And that means you've missed out on revenue. A CRM platform can help you with that, would make those notifications automatic, and you would not miss any of those kinds of opportunities for additional sales or additional customer care. What about you on the marketing side, Laura?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two things to highlight here. So, from a marketing perspective, again, when I go into small businesses and start talking to them about their marketing, one of my first questions is, okay, what has your spend been over the past couple of years? What have you been spending it on? How much was it? Do you know what the ROI was? And usually I get a deer in headlights look back. It wasn't tracked for whatever reason, or it was one of those things where, the head of operations had an idea that we should go to a trade show. He ran the entire thing, and now there's no record of what was actually spent, what were the leads that came in, how were those leads managed. And that is just really important to take a look at because, again, you want to look at it from the perspective of how much is this costing you? What is that cost for each lead when you go to a trade show? Are those leads actually converting into revenue? And can you show when you're starting to tell that story of your business and what you've accomplished and where you're going, does it show some momentum? Does it show that you're investing in the right places? So taking a look at that from a broader perspective, as well as what is the cost per lead? What is the cost per customer? What is the lifetime value per customer? Those are all really important data points as you're thinking about marketing. I also think to build on what Leah said of taking a look at your customers and really understanding the renewal data. I previously worked with an organization around their customer success program, and the entire idea behind that was taking a look at their renewals. And just like Leah talked about, none of that data was in a CRM. So we had a list of customers that at one point had paid for our software platform, and we didn't know when their last payment went through. We didn't know if they were still using the system because we didn't have access to that data. So a lot of my conversations were, it looks like you're a customer of ABC company. You're up for renewal. Here's your invoice. And they respond back, what are you talking about? I haven't used that for years. Like, please take me off your list. And so it created a lot of frustration from that customer because it looked like we didn't have it together because we didn't know, were you actually a customer? Are you actually using our services? And then internally, there was a lot of frustration because it was like, well, who are our customers and what does our revenue actually look like? What is our ARR and who are our users of the platform that we need to support? And so as you think about the financials, it goes beyond just having it documented in one place where you can filter, sort, understand what's going on, but it reaches into all areas of the organization and it also speaks to that brand reputation and how people are perceiving your organization and whether they want to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you're talking about getting your business ready to sell it to another entity or someone else is going to come in and take a look at your your business for a purchase, they're going to want to know what the total cost of ownership is. They're going to want to know what
Hmm.
all of those things are. They're going to want to know what is, as you were just saying, Laura, what is the cost of acquisition of a new customer versus the cost of keeping the ones that you have. And so it's incredibly imperative to think about this, not just as the money that's coming in, right? And it's great that your businesses are doing well, but could they do better? Could they be more efficient? Could they be more successful? And I think a CRM would really help you with that. So we've taken a look at where your data is at, getting it into a nice standardized, consumable way. We've talked a lot about what it's going to cost you if you don't do some of these things, not just in hard costs, but also in reputational cost. Let's talk about what the future state looks like. Laura, I'll let you go first on this. What does the future state look like from a marketing perspective when you got to go from here?
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of the areas that I think is really hard, especially just like you said, Leah. A lot of times it's, this is what we've always done. We've always gone after this customer group, or we've always found someone who, wants to buy in this way. And it's really taking a look at, for the goals that you have for your organization, if you are trying to pass it on and keep your legacy going, obviously you want to set them up for success and have it continue to grow. So, from a marketing perspective, it's really understanding, okay, what is that vision and where do you want to go? And then building out that go to market strategy, which I know is a very scary term for a lot of small companies, but building out that go to market strategy to really understand and align with that vision. And so, what I mean with that is it's taking a look at, how are you selling today? How are you marketing today? Based on what you've done and what it has cost, what is that ROI? And is this the best place for you to be? You can also pull in some of that other data from customer success to understand that customer feedback, what product adoption may look like, what services are being used, and that can help to inform this as well. But it's really important to take some time, take a step back, look at the dynamics, and understand what's happening next. I think an interesting story that I heard was this one company had built an integration with some software. And so they were one of the top integrations that people use because the software did not use it whatsoever. Well, the software decided, hey, we should build this in because that's going to help us acquire more business. And so the little add on company was experiencing a lot of issues because why would they pay for it if it's now included in the platform that they purchased to begin with? And so they started seeing a huge amount of attrition because customers started walking away from this paid option. And so for them, they needed to sit down and think through, okay, we no longer are going to get customers based on this product because it is now offered as part of the overall software that they have. But where are we going to go? Like, where is our differentiator? And so, thinking about marketing, it's really taking that time to understand that and understand that story you have and what the future looks like and how that's supported based on the data that you have and the data that you can find out in the industry.
That's an awesome story. A sad story, but an awesome story, right? But it's,
Yeah.
I think we mentioned once before that you either win or you learn, right? So there's something to be said about these stories that we've told you and these scenarios that we put forth. The I know a guy, we've always done it this way. We talked a lot about some of those things that are cliche, but are so true with small businesses because they're very comfortable and because you know what they are. So Laura said it can be scary to hear the words go to market strategy, but that's just the words, right? What it really means is you get a partner in Customize 365 that ideally helps you through this, gets your data together, gets it into consumable form, puts it into that CRM for you, and builds that future state around your goals. And I think that that's incredibly important as you transition your business, as you grow your business, or just as you know your business, right? Because it's incredibly important to know what's going on in your own business right now, too. Make some of those small tweaks. We mentioned that on another stream as well, that if the customer had just made a small tweak because they'd asked their customers what they were looking for, they wouldn't have lost some of their contracts. And it was such a minor thing. The same as Laura just said here, that they were basically said, why would we pay for this add-on? Because now it's included. You don't want to be part of that story. You don't want to be part of that story and strategy at all. You want to be able to know what those differentiators are and do they align to your future state. So with that in mind, let's talk about what the future looks like.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare for succession? Are you looking to multiply your business? Again, are you looking to grow? Are you looking to maximize your business because you're going to sell it to somebody? Are you looking to just make more money because you're going to keep it for a while longer too? Or are you going to do something with your legacy? Are you going to pass it on generationally to someone else in the business who's been with you for a long time? What does that look like and what does that mean to you? But the data is key. No matter which one of those that you're looking for, the data is key. And it's important to partner with someone like Customize 365 to know what's important, to know what to look for, to know those pieces that you didn't even think about before that we think about daily because it's what we do. It's how we help you succeed and grow. And I think that's incredibly important for us to talk about is identify what you want to do, prepare for your succession, and then help us build around that. Laura, what would you add?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as you think about both of these, it's really interesting just given the current market dynamics. I think we talked about this in an earlier stream that between 2019 and 2029, it's estimated that 10 million small businesses are going to change hands. So either they're going to be sold, either they're going to be passed on to a future generation or someone internally. And so as you think about this, it's really understanding where you want to go and what's going to be important for those next steps. And so the beauty of data is it can really tell a story. And I think, one of the things that our CEO and founder says quite a bit is, if you have a data point that you're taking a look at and it's not positive, it's not telling the story that you want it to tell, well, there are two or three other ones that you can look at that likely will provide some substantial evidence or feedback to support why that data point doesn't look great. So it starts to become what is that story around your business, especially if you're taking a look at exiting and selling the business. But then also on the legacy side, it's really focusing on how can you set them up for success? Like, your vision is likely what brought you to where you are today. But as you pass that on, what can you do to ensure that as they bring their vision to life, that they're able to support that and be successful where they're going?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to put my books on my shelf by my favorites and see if I can handle it.
I can give you my organizational option. Just,
I
put
love
them
it.
up there. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So again, kind of just to wrap it up, we've enjoyed these live streams so much. We've enjoyed putting out there what Customize 365 does. We'd love to talk more about what we do and how we can help your small business. Our contact information is there. I'll let Laura have the final words, but just from my perspective, I just want to thank everyone for the time that they've given to these streams, to the time that they're giving to thinking about what's going to happen with their business, and really appreciate that from our small business to yours. We're here for you. Laura?
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, and I think, one of the things that I have learned over the past couple of months as I've been working with Customize 365 and Leah and our founder is that, small businesses are really at kind of a turning point. So as we think about that transition of the 10 million businesses that are going to change hands, or as we think about, how businesses were built up over the past several decades and now they have all of this data. Like if you go back to that original slide that we had, with all of that paper and the files, there's a ton of information. And so it's how can you harness the power of that information to really be successful and make sure that your business lives on, even if you are exiting and going to spend some time at the beach, which you should do if you're getting ready to exit out of your business. So, long story short, we're here to support. Feel free to reach out to us at any time. Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn. Check out our website. We do have some exciting events that will be coming up this fall that we would love to see you at. So make sure to pay attention as the announcement for that should be coming out very soon. Otherwise, stay connected with us and we would love to hear from you if there's any immediate challenges that we can help you with.
Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.